I'm stuck there. I'm not able to short the date. So will you please suggest me or teach me how to short a date? And second thing, the pipeline of the task of the 5th May Friday, you have asked for the file sending to parent to child. So that's our task is completed now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm. Can we take a look at it?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Uh, Prashant, please give me access.
Yes, yes. Yes, Manoj.
Okay. Yeah, you can share your screen.
Yeah. It is visible, Manoj.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that is the
So,
pipeline. Yeah, I'm using the directory browser
mm,
with the root and fetch all the file here,
mm,
and after route it as a yeah, JSON, XLS, and
mm.
CSV, and
Okay.
using the who executing pipeline who execute snap directly here,
Okay.
and the file name I'm choosing at rate a dollar with name only.
Okay.
So here I I got all the file name, and after that I'm using the child one, and the child I use the route here,
Right.
and after route I'm using the file writer to import the file name,
Okay.
and after that the writer here. So when I run it, I'm already run it, and if you say I'm run it again, so
Can you
when I
do one? Uh,
wo-
go to manager.
yeah, here.
Yeah. Delete the target folder.
Okay.
Won't be able to delete, I guess. Then deleted
Yeah.
everything. Okay. So now it has to create the folder, and inside the target folder, it has to create three folders again, and
Hmm.
inside the files has to be placed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Should I run it?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Have you seen the dashboard also?
Mm.
So the
Mm.
execution is complete, and I'm going to manager and refresh the file, and I got the target folder here. And inside the target, I got the CSV, Excel, and JSON folder.
Mm.
So when I open the CSV, I got all the CSV file here.
1 second.
Okay.
Can you click on this entry per page? There is this top level entries per page. At top, to your right, to your right.
Okay.
Keep it to 100.
Okay.
Now go down.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
23 entry in there.
Right.
And also I got the data also here.
Mm.
Yeah, here. And for the CSV, and it's same for the Excel.
Okay.
There is 16 entry,
Okay.
and yeah, I when I open as a year data, it's already here.
Mm-hmm.
And for the JSON, I got the 4 file here,
Mm.
and when I open for the data, I got here the
Mm.
data also.
Okay.
So yeah, all this thing will happen here at the completed. But Manoj, I would like when I use the this one data. Okay, let me page it directly. Data hiring date. So I'm stuck here with the hiring date. When I use the hiring date, so date is in format of some what was that, the integer and strings. So two thing is there. So have you see in mapper I have seen the hiring date. Oh, none. Hiring is that like something is a 21 June 07. So when I start sorting here, so what the logic should I import here? So sorting it into first sorting
You
as a
just
year or
uh,
month and date.
just a second. Can you go to Mapper? What have you done there?
uh, I'm trying it, but it's not work. The date dot yeah parse.
Can you close this out? Uh, Remove the Mapper.
Okay.
Mm. What is the sorting logic that you have put there?
In shorting, yeah,
Yes.
it's same.
Okay. Can you validate? Retry now.
Yeah, retrying it, and it's sorting like is here. Is nothing to short here. It is the 03 after 06. So as the
So
year is
if you understand what's happening,
no
as I told you,
hmm,
as I told you earlier, if it is a number, go and open the output.
output of what short.
Sort. Yeah.
Okay.
If it is, uh, I mean, if it is a number,
Hmm.
what it will do, it will consider only number and it will sort again.
Hmm.
But it
Hmm.
is a string, it will look for the first few characters and then try to sort it out. Right. So if you see the first two characters in a high date, are
Hmm.
they in a sorting order or not? 0, 1, 0, 3, 5, 6, 7. And if you go down, all of them in a sorting order.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's because that it is considering this as a string and the first characters are sorting and it is
Hmm.
working as expected. That is the reason. And
The
if you
whole
want,
thing is a into a string.
yeah, whole thing as a
Uh,
string.
yeah.
So that's where it is taking like that, and it is as expected. But if you want to do a complete string sorting, okay,
Yeah.
then
Hmm.
you have to remove that special characters, hyphens.
Okay.
There is this hyphen in between May and 01, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's where it won't consider because hyphen will stop it there itself because it is a special character.
Okay.
So once you sort it out, then apply you have to replace that special character first and
Hmm.
then sort it out and then add it to the string again. So maybe some calculation like that you can do it if you want to have it in a particular order. Otherwise, it is working as expected now because before hyphen itself it will take and it is sorting in that way. Try to remove that hyphens in the source file and try it out. Then it will completely sort. But if you feel that you need hyphens also, first read the file with hyphens.
Hmm.
In the mapper, try to replace those hyphens with the
Hmm.
empty spaces or something. You
Hmm.
have to write some JavaScript on that. I mean, some small replace all function. Once
Hmm.
after that replace, use the sorting, and then in the last mapper, try some JavaScript wherein you can add these hyphens and keep them, uh, you know, in place. Something like that you can do. It's due to that there are special characters. That's the way it is behaving actually. Okay.
Okay. I think I'm trying it also.
You
What
don't do date dot parse. Date dot parse won't work.
data parse?
You are using there. I mean, earlier you are using date dot parse, right? Date dot parse won't work because the data format is
Okay.
different.
Mm-hmm.
It is not expecting the 12th May something something. We have taken some random example. Date dot parse won't work like that.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Uh, yeah. So I suppose when we use as a when I remove the hyphen here,
Mm.
so as the whole data is considering as a string, so at that time if I add here a space hyphen remove and add a space here, so
No,
at
no,
that time also it will be
no.
as a string.
I'm not asking you to remove add space there. Remove
Okay.
that hyphen itself. So then the string will be like 01 May 03. It's not like
Yes.
01 space
Yes.
May space 03. Not like that. It
Okay.
will be 01 May 03. Something like that. Okay.
Okay. So at
Try it
at
out.
at that scene, it's also sorting like that because it is a follow as a string. So as a string, it's follow the alphabetically is a 0, 1, 0, 3, 0, 5. So as I suppose it is the same as the order
Yeah,
at that
that
stage.
will be in the same order. See, what you are trying to do here is you are trying to sort on a string, right?
Oh, yeah.
You are trying to sort on a string. So
Hmm.
it will consider the characters first. When you
Hmm.
are trying to sort on a string,
Hmm.
it will consider the characters. Whatever
Hmm.
characters comes first, it will give the name. It will give
Hmm.
the value there, right?
Hmm.
So if you want to do it, you have to convert it to date dot pass. That what we have done, but you cannot do it with this specific format. 01 May 03 won't work with date dot pass. Okay,
So
it should be
is there any?
something like 01 05 03. What is the index number of May? 05, right? Or 5.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you have dates like that, then your date dot parse will work. If you have 01 hyphen May
Hmm.
hyphen
Hmm. Hmm.
03, it won't work.
Okay. So
Maybe what
is
you
there?
need to do is convert this maze into numbers in your programmatically. I mean, in your logic,
Uh,
whenever there is May, turn it to 05. Maybe Zan 01, something like that.
mm-hmm.
Then you will be able to see something in a dated way. Then
Okay.
03 Zan will come first, and then 01 May come second, or maybe February come first, January, then February, April. Likewise, it will come.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I will try it.
This format will not work with date.pos. That is what my
Okay.
okay.
And one last thing, is there any the method to who convert the string into a date as
Date pass.
we convert into the string into
Date.pos.
integer. So date parses work when
When we have
use
numbers.
integer also here
When we have numbers.
when we have number. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I will try it. Yeah.
Yeah. Before trying that, try to convert this May and everything into a number.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
then apply the date.pass. Then it will give you the date. Then try and apply the sorting on the date.
Okay. At that they provide me a format of the date, right?
You can give a format or you don't need to. So it's up to
Okay.
you.
Okay.
There are some date functions like to local date string or something.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
can use one of those, and then you can something, or I mean only date dot parse is enough something. Okay, you try it
Okay.
out.
Okay.
The
Okay, man.
string May or June something like that should not be there when you are using date dot parse function. Instead, you
Hmm.
have to have them in a numbers. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, man. Yeah.
Yeah. uh, Bilal, can you go on mute? Abhishek, did you do something for this?
Yes, sir. I was also able to complete it.
Okay, let's take a look at your pipeline then. Can you show me?
Mhm. Is it visible?
Yep.
So I'm using the same logic here, routing them and
Mm,
using pipeline execute for each one of them.
right.
Now in the child pipeline, I'm only using file reader and file writer.
Okay.
So in the file writer, I'm passing type also, so I don't have to use the router. Yeah. Okay.
Perfect. Perfect.
Now in the manager, if I go, this is a target folder,
Right.
and in the target folder there are three JSON, CSV, Excel.
Okay.
So in the if I go in the CSV, data was also passing now.
Right.
The issue I had earlier.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
it's
can you do one thing, Abhishek? Can you go and delete this folder and let's run it
hmm,
again?
okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
I'll refresh now. So
Okay.
there is a target folder
Perfect.
in the different folders in the CSV.
Mhm. Perfect. Okay.
So I think it's completed now, the task.
Right. Can you close it down and can you go back? Can you show me any JSON files? Okay. Perfect. Uh, can you go back to your logic, Snaplogic designer? Go to your child. So Ashwini, if you can see, I wanted to tell you this after Abhishek's logic, but he has already implemented the way.
Hmm.
So you don't require to use the routing logic and three snaps of file writer and file reader combination because you are anyway sending the file name from the top, right?
Yes.
And you are already routing the logic there from for CSV, JSON, and Excel already, right?
Hmm.
And then what Abhishek is doing here is once he has that values in the top, he is trying to pass as is as you're doing, but in the child pipeline, he optimizes your solution that he can only have only one file reader and one file writer, right?
Hmm. Right.
Yours also will work, but as I said, and as I am telling you from starting that we need to optimize our number of snaps
Labs. Yeah.
being used in a pipeline, right? So
Hmm.
your solution will also work. The way we want is actually the way he has designed it, because the actual logic we have already taken care in the parent pipeline itself. So if
Hmm.
you look at it now, it seems so easy, right? At top, we
Yes.
have almost 4, 5, 6 snaps, and child pipeline, we have only 2 snaps. Initially, we thought it is complicated, but when you started designing it and when you started reducing the snaps, it turned out very easy one, right? To
Right.
everyone in the class. Whenever you are trying to put a solution, do it in your way first. Try to complete the solution and then try to optimize it. Optimize in the sense, try to reduce the number of snaps used in a particular pipeline, and then you will get a better solution than the one that you have done earlier. Okay.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Abhishek. It's a good one.
Okay.
Anyone else having anything? Did anyone give a try? Only Abhishek and Ashwini, not anyone else. Sushmita, Manohari, Shashank.
Yeah, I have tried, but it's not working.
Okay. So did you get a solution now?
Yeah, now I'm
You
getting the
have
solution.
seen how the solution works, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Will you give a try about it, or shall we take a look at it?
Yeah, I will give it a try.
Okay. Okay. And what about Sushmita and Manohari? And then,
Manoj, actually, I'm facing the high fever, so I'm not able to work
okay,
on tasks. So
okay,
I'm trying to, when I cured, I will try
sure.
to do better.
Okay, yeah, no worries. And Sushmita, you're saying something. Hello. Okay. And Manohari,
So trying, sir.
you tried it out?
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Actually, I didn't get the logic. Now I'm
Okay.
again.
Are you able to get your logic now?
Yes, sir.
There are two ways. One Ashwani has done, and the second one is Abhishek. Please try it out. Try doing in both ways and see the difference what we have discussed now. Okay.
Yes, sir. Done, sir.
Make sense?
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Okay then. Uh, Anyone has any questions further? Okay. Let's go ahead and learn about few more snaps today. Can you see my screen, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So till now, we have tried and looked out for options to parse of a file, a content of a file. Uh, so we have taken a look at the CSV file, right? Having used CSV parser to get the contents in a documented way, correct? Yes, no, maybe. And if it is an Excel file, we have used a particular parser to convert the binary data from the file to the document using the particular parcel of Excel, wherein we have got where we have got all the data in a document way. Likewise, JSON we have seen and the fixed with parser as well, right? So this is how we have seen the four types of parsers where we can convert the binary data to the documented data, right? These four parsing options we have seen. So in the same way, there is one more type of parser, we would say, wherein it will convert directly the binary to document based on the encoding formats. Encoding formats. Okay. What is encoding here? So if you have a data and you don't want everyone to see the data, in the sense it is encoded with some encoding mechanisms that is available. Basically, Snaplogic uses base 64 encoding mechanism. So that is one of the coding, data mechanism encoding we use in Snaplogic. We have many types of encoding mechanisms in in IT, basically in software field. But basically, Snaplogic uses base 64. Remember that Snaplogic uses base 64 encoding format. So as I am saying, there are different types of parsers we have discussed. So this is one such type of parser where it parses depending on the encoding type. Okay, encoding type of a file. So now I have given a brief about the snap. So now let's take a look at that snap. Okay, that snap name is binary to document. So it converts, as I said, the diamond shaped data, which is nothing but a binary data, to the documented data. If you open this, there is this attribute called encode or decode. Okay, we can select any of the mechanisms that they have provided here. Okay, provided here that could use to encode the data or decode the data also. So when do we use encoding? When you have a file and in between the logic or within a pipeline, you want to convert that normal file into an encoded file. In the sense, we have provided some security mechanism to that data that is available in the file, so that no one else other than me or you who knows the actual data will understand what is there, will not understand what is there in the file, right? Because we have converted or we have applied some encoding mechanism to this file, we will be able to understand what is there in that file end of the day. But someone or some intruders cannot see the data which is there in the file. So the actual purpose of any encoding mechanism is to avoid data loss from the intruders, right? Intruders, nothing but hackers, whoever it is, through internet. Whenever they want to process a file through internet. I mean, let's say I said we will be connecting to S3 and we will try to retrieve the file from S3, right? So the file will process or will travel through internet, is it or not? So when you are trying to upload a file in a Snaplogic, you know that Snaplogic, within the Snaplogic itself, you have a file and you don't have any problem with the security, right? But when you try to connect to an external system of source like S3, and you have your file available in one of the bucket or folder, and you try to call it, it will, or you will be able to see that file, and the file will travel through internet through some HTTP calls. It will travel and the data is available through internet also. So when some intruders or some attackers, if they want to see our data, if it is not in an encoded format, right, they will be able to see it. So for that reason, what customers or few of the customers where they have some financial information, maybe very important data, if they are trying to send, then they will do the encoding at their end. In the sense, they will encode whole data with some encoding mechanism, maybe base 64 itself, because our Snaplogic is using that base 64. So when the encoded data is coming up, what we do, we read the file and then we use this format, right? Sorry, this snap, and we will select one of this option we have here from the available options, and then try to decode it from here, and then use the rest of the data like this. So that is one case where the data is being encoded at the customer level itself. But customer says that you have my data, but encode it while trying to while trying to while trying to upload or while trying to send to the destination. Then we use encoding mechanism for that, encode underscore base 64, to encode the data within the pipeline, whereas the initial data is normal documented format and the output of it is an encoded format, then send it out to the final destination. Okay, this is the actual mechanism where we generally use this binary to document snap, or we call it as a parser also, because it is trying to convert the data from binary data to the documented data, but based on encoding mechanisms. So there is this attribute called encode or decode. We have multiple options here. Okay, let's see what will happen if I put encode base 64. Okay, I have used it to tell me, or I am trying to tell the snap that encode the data which is coming from source. So let's say, what is the file here? Yeah, the file is not available, it seems. So file not found exception, it is throwing us. So file is not available. I see there is one such file is available in my manager. Let's see. It is not available as well. Let me go and let me do one thing. Maybe let me take any of the file. I want to look for all JSON files in this case. There are two JSON files. Instead, let me go and give you with XLS so that you will be able to understand it properly. If I use JSON, even the data is in JSON format, you won't be able to get it properly. Let's see. So there are how many Excel files? We have two Excel files here. We have read the values, and if you see the output will be available in a content content attribute or the field. So if you see the content of this, if you see the content, the whole content that we got from the file read has been converted into some random strings. If you can see, this is all metadata, but actual data will be inside content. See, this whole data has been converted into some random strings. You won't be able to understand why it has done that. It's because that encode base 64 we have used. Okay, can you see the difference? The whole data has been transformed into this, right? This is some random characters that it has converted into. The next thing is, let's go and try it out with the decode base 64. What we are trying to tell to this snap is decode the input data. Do we have encoded it? No, but still we have done the decoding, or we have asked the binary document snap to decode the input data. But this will particularly use when the source file is encoded, when the data in the source file is encoded. So if you see the data now, this is how actual Excel files look, right? So if you see here, this is how actual files look. This is how they looks, right? So this is how they are looking as well. So if you want to understand it properly, let's go and look at the CSV file, because the data will be seen there and you will be able to understand it properly. Let me use some head snap so that I will process only a few records, right? I will only try to process only single record from all the CSV files. And now if you see the data difference properly now, if I go and convert it to JSON and then go it out, let me just use it out. Am I able to see the data? Yes, here. And let's go and see it here as well. If you see, the data is still in some random format. It's because that the data is not encoded from source, but still what we have done there, what have we done there? What we have done is we are trying to ask it to decode. So after decoding, it has given some random format which we don't able to understand. So it's mandatory that whenever we try to give some option to this encode or decode attribute, we try to understand that whether my source is, in a which format is it? The format of the source. It is mandatory that we have to understand what is the format of the source. Format in the sense whether it is encoded or not. If it is encoded, then we have to use the decode base 64, right? If the encoding mechanism is base 64. Okay. In the same way, let's go and try out none. What is none here? Don't provide me okay, don't provide or don't apply any encoding format, but instead, whenever we install a Snaplex, okay, we provide a security mechanism or an encoding mechanism. Okay, in the Snaplogic manager, or when they are trying to install a Snaplex, any organization, it's mandatory that they have to provide some encoding mechanism or a security mechanism along with that, right? So when we apply none here, it automatically takes the security mechanism within the or encoding mechanism within the Snaplex. Whatever we have done, we have that will be taken care. It is not base 64. let's say we have not used base 64 when trying to install the Snaplex, then that particular installation method or encoding mechanism, that could be anything, that will be used. Okay, these are far more advanced to you, but for your understanding I am explaining you now. Maybe whenever you get chance to work on this, then you will get it better. Okay, don't try to scratch your heads on this now. Just remember what I'm trying to tell you, then try to apply when you get the situation to work on this. Okay, I have applied none. Let's go and see the data, how it looks. Okay, so if you can see, it has given me the data as I have selected the none, and as this is the trial version, I don't have encoding mechanism on the Snaplex as well. Can you see the data? This is from here to here. This is the header, right? Till /n. /n is nothing but new line character. Okay, from 198 to 12450. This is first record. After /n, this is second record. Likewise. Make sense? This is how the data is getting when we use none. Okay, we are able to see the data properly from the CSV file, but it is in a different format, right? But let's say there is another format where I can use document. So now what I'm trying to tell my parser here, binary to document, give me the format in a documented way. Okay, I don't want it in any other way. Give me the format in a documented way. Okay, now let's go and validate. Now it is failing because unrecognized token employee ID, because the data that is from source, it was not able to document it, it was not able to convert it. So that's where it has some problem. The problem could be that the data is not enclosed within double quotes or something, and it has some problem while it is trying to convert into document. Unrecognized token employee ID, right? It is expecting some JSON string from input, but the data is not in a JSON way, right? But if you use a JSON file, here I have used CSV file, but if you use a JSON file here, it won't be a problem, right? The JSON was expected to be in a JSON format. Sorry, the input is expected to be in a JSON format. So that's where it is failing. So we cannot use this option with the CSV file that we have used. Now, let's go and check for this byte array. What I am trying to tell my document, the parser now, byte array. In the sense, convert that whole data into bytes and put them into an array. Okay. Now let's take a look and just a second. Now let's go ahead and validate. Right now, let's go and look at the content. See, base 64 encoded data. So whenever you use this byte array, the data will be in an encoded format. Okay, and it will give you this option of, or the data will be in a base 64 encoded data. Okay, you cannot see this data. So from this exercise, you need to understand that encoding and decoding, it depends on the file. If the data is not encoded from source, then we use this. If the data is encoded, then we used to decode the data and play around, because we can only apply functions on a document data, right? Encoded data, we cannot do anything because it's a combination of some strings, right? Some characters. It's combination of random characters. We cannot understand that. None, when it is also a encoding mechanism, or it also uses the encoding mechanism, but it depends on the Snaplex and which mechanism we have chosen, encoding mechanism we have chosen when we try to install the Snaplex, right? And it will give you the result. And then document we can use to convert the data into a document format, but it will only work when there is format within a JSON way. Okay. And the next one is the byte array. It will try to divide the whole data into bytes and provide you an array, and the output of the data will be in an base64 encoded format. Make sense? So as I said, this will be a bit advanced topic to you all, but you have to understand, and when time comes, you can apply it properly. Make sense? So now, out of all these formats, which one I can use? Only none. If I want to see my data in a way that I can see, right? It is not in a format that I have expected still, right? It's not in a format that I wanted to see, but still I'm able to see the data using some JavaScript functions on the content. I can divide the data, I can split the data, and I can do something out of it, right? So I was able to see the data here. The data is in a complete string. That whole data has been converted into a string, right? So now I will use some JavaScript functions in the mappers and everything. So what I can do here is just a second. So what I will do in this case, I will try to get that content, that whole string. Okay. Let me go ahead and see how the data looks. Okay. There is a split function. I will try to split on this on /n. I will try to map it to data. I'm just showing you how you can use the data or how you can properly format it. So there is a JavaScript function that I have used here, and then it has converted everything into an array. So if you see, that whole data has been converted into number of arrays, right? So now maybe we can use this data to convert or something like that. So if you say that 0, okay, it will give you the header because I have converted everything into an array. So let's see what 0 will provide me. So first record, right? The whole data has been provided here, right? It's not the actual documented way it is there, but it has given everything into a single string. The whole data is converted into a single string. Make sense? Likewise, let's go and try to do some analysis on JSON files now. Okay, how it will enhance or how it will work. Let me just take it away. How it will work with the JSON. So every file will have a separate, encoding mechanism that we can provide. So this is the JSON file I have used. What it will provide me, let's go and see. So in the content, see, it has turned everything into a string, even though my source data has JSON format, but that whole JSON has been turned into a string because these are enclosed within a string, right? So let's go and see which are the other options that we can try it out. So earlier we have discussed that when we try to use document, the data should be in a documented format, right? The input will be, or it should be in a documented format. Let's try and see how it will provide me the values now. So now if you see that it has not failed, but earlier it has failed because the data is not in a JSON format, right? Now let's go and look at the data. See, if you see the data, it has provided me in a array of JSON values. Right? This is the documented format, general documented format that you see or carry. The data will carry in this format from one snap to another snap in this format, right? Right? array of JSON objects, right? This is how they format. And now it has provided us the exact result or the way we want it. Correct? It's because that the input data is in a JSON format, JSON string, we were able to use this document. Let's go and see byte array. Byte array by default, what it will do, it will provide the data in a encoded format, base 64 encoded format. So let's see what is the output of this now. So if I see now, the data is in base 64 encoded format. By default, byte array, you have to understand that whatever the data you use or see, the data will be encoded by using the byte array, because the data will be converted into bytes and then put it into an array. That's how it do. Okay, encoding and decoding, it depends on the file. Whether you have data encoded from the source, then you use decode base 64 in this snap, because we want to decode that input encoded value and then use it in our next snaps. So encode is nothing but, if you have a file and you want to encode it, then you can encode or use encode base 64 for that. Let's try and see what or how this encode base 64 will react to this. Okay, how it will provide us the solutions now with encode base 64. So it has given us the result. Let's go and see how it is. So it has encoded into some random string values. Okay, you won't be able to understand what is this content because it has encoded into base 64. You need to remember that this encoding is different from this encoding. This encoding a random string, random characters of a string, and then this into, it will convert that data into bytes and then convert into array and then apply encoding. So these two are different. Okay, inside I mean on the snap level we cannot see, but within the functions, they will apply some mechanism so that the data will be in that format. Okay, now you might have a question that, let's say in a byte array we see that the data is in base 64 encoded format. So let's say for some reason we had to use this. I'm not sure what is the reason, but for some reason we have to use byte array because no other options are working, right? So in that case, I want to convert this, or I want to able to see that data in a normal decoded way. Here the data is base 64 and I want to see how this data is. So what I can do is I can use a mapper. This is something additional that I'm telling you for your reference. Maybe in future it will help you for you. So there is this base 64 section in this functions, right? So there is this base 64 decode. Now let me map my content to this. Let's see how. This is a byte array, type is byte array. So now let's see whether it will be able to decode or not, because there is this built-in function within the Snaplogic that they have provided us with this base 64.decode. I understand that data is already in a base 64 encoded way. So let me see whether it will decode it or not. So let's see how it will react. It is taking a bit time. Let's just wait and see. Let me just save it again. Sometimes Snaplogic will take time like this because it is a cloud tool. So connecting to the Snaplux may take time sometime, because Snaplux is a runtime environment for the pipelines to run. Without proper connection, it won't be able to validate also. So that's where it will take time sometimes, as it is a cloud tool. Okay, don't worry that it is not giving any results, but You just need to wait for some time. In these cases, then it will give you the result. So unable to decode to base 64. Bad base 64 input character decimal 19 at 0. Why we are not able to decode? Because it is a byte array. It is a type of byte array. But let me go and see if I encode in this format. Okay, can I use the same thing or not? So there are two encoding mechanisms that we have seen here, right? One is this one and byte array. And now we understand that using this normal base 64 dot decode, where it can convert that encoding into decoding format, we were not able to do it with byte array because the data is completely divided into bytes and then put it into an array. So it is a specific format where the snap is not able to understand. Now let me go and see how it has decoded it, whether it has decoded it or not. See, it has decoded all the data into a string. What I have done here, I have converted that encoding into base 64, and I see that value is a combination of characters, a random characters which we won't be able to understand. But Snaplogic has given us this inbuilt base 64 section in this. There are few options, right? So what I can do is I can use that decode function directly. It's a JavaScript function, and I can use the decode function and then get the values into a documented format as I want it here, right? These values can be passed and used. So how I can pass? So let me go and see if I can pass it here. There is this function called json.parse. I told you also that it will act like a JSON parser, but in a method also, right? When I am explaining this JSON parser to you, I told you that there is a function called JSON parse. So wherein it acts like a JSON parser, but it will be able to apply, or we will be able to apply within a mapper itself. So now let's see whether it will provide me the data in a JSON parse way or not. See, it has converted everything into a JSON. Now what I have done here in this mapper, what I have done, first initially I have decoded the value which is in base 64, and then I wanted everything in a array of JSON objects. That's what we generally see in Snaplogic, right? As an output of a snap. So what I have done, I have converted that whole string. So this JSON.parse can be used to convert the JSON in a string. If a JSON in a string format. So what do I mean by JSON in a string format? So if you see the result of this, if I only decode this, right? If I only decode this, the value of this data is in a JSON format, but it in a string. See, if you see that whole data is enclosed with the double quotes. The data will be in a string, but in a array format, JSON format, because there is this open bracket, colon, and then comma. So this is all the JSON format. So when you see the data format like this, you can apply this JSON.parse, okay? And then you can convert the contents into the way or the array of JSON objects, right? You can convert the value into the array of JSON format. So once you've done your encoding or decoding or whatever it is, you can decode the values like this to get the data in your way or in the format that Snaplogic wanted it. So this is how the Snaplogic wants it, right? This is how the actual format is. This is the actual format. But when you see the data here, this is in a complete string, which Snaplogic cannot do anything. This is an encoding format, but when you apply only base 64, this is a string. And then you have to parse it if and only if the data is in string. Make sense? Make sense? Any questions on this? So these are the 5 mechanisms that they have provided with binary to document. So as the name suggests itself, it will convert the data from binary to document. And there are different mechanisms inside this base64. If the value coming from source is not encoded, then we use it to encode the value. And then if the value is in a encoding format, then we use decode to decode that value so that it will come in a array of JSON objects. None, we can use it when there is no mechanism provided, and it will use the Snaplex level mechanism that is provided when they are trying to install, right? Document will work with the data when it is in a array, sorry, JSON string. The complete data should be in a JSON string, then only it will work. Byte array, it is completely a different encoding mechanism wherein we won't be able to see the data, and the whole data is a base64 encoded way. Okay, these are the 5 types. So now till now we have seen the parsing from binary to document. So likewise, if you remember that, we have seen the formatters as well, right? Where it is converting the data from document to binary, like JSON format, CSV formatter, Excel formatter, fixed width formatter. These four formatter we have seen already, correct? So now let's go and see what is the type of formatter we have when this sort of application is applied within a pipeline, right? I have used binary to document. So likewise, there is a snap called document to binary. So what it will do, it acts like a formatter. Okay, it acts like a formatter. So what does formatter do? It will convert the documented data into a binary data, right? It will actually convert the data in a documented way to the binary data. So that is the formatter purpose, the purpose of formatter actually. We have seen 4 like such. Now we have a special type of formatter, but we don't call it formatter actually. Logically it is a formatter, but actual name is the name is document to binary. So why it says as document to binary? Because the input data here is a documented way, and it will provide us the value in a binary way, right? Make sense? So now we understand the purpose of this document to binary. So we understand it is same like the formatting, but there is a slight difference from the normal formatters to this formatter. We have seen the difference of normal parsers to this binary to document parser. The difference is this encoding. There is no encoding or decoding or any side of or any sort of these mechanisms with the normal parsers. Likewise, with the document to binary as well, as I said, it is a logical formatter also. The only difference that we see from the normal formatters to this format is that encoding and decoding mechanisms, right? Normal formatters we won't be able to see, or we won't be apply any encodings externally, or within the code itself we cannot do it. But by using this document to binary, where we can apply this encoding mechanisms as well to the data. So now we see that there is a data coming up in a encoded base 64. Now when the data is in encoded base 64, in the next snap, what I will do is I will try to use it as decode, in the sense decode it, and now let's see how it will give me the results. I'm trying to format the data is in documented format. I'm trying to format it to decoded way. Now let me go and take a look at the file. So this is how the file looks. See, because if I see here, what is the data, how it is looking here? It is in a random characters way, right? It's a combination of random characters, right? The content, because we have used what we have used encode. We said to encode the incoming data, but in the next snap, what I have done, maybe I will try to put a file right here. So now I said to document to binary snap, don't write the file or the data coming from binary to document as is. Instead, decode the data and then write it to a file. Maybe this is the file, right? I want to decoded file.json. Okay, this is the decoded one. So what I'm trying to tell now to the pipeline now, in this sequence, when you read the file and when I applied this encoding through this document to binary, where I am trying to format the data, instead of putting that encoding data as is, try to decode this and then put it into a last file, right? So now what it has done, it has taken the value as an input, which is in encoded way or base 64 encoded way, right? This is the encoded way that we have seen, right? So here the data is in some combination of characters, random combination of characters. Now, if I see the data, see, so let's say I have used encode base 64 here as well. So will it make any difference? Will it make any difference? Let's see how it reacts now. Let's see how the data is actually as an output of this snap. Let's see how the data of this snap. Let me see the preview. Can you see? We have again used the encoding, which doesn't make any sense because we have already encoded and we try to encode it again. And what it will do finally, what it will write to the file, that encoded data. And as an end user, I won't be able to understand. What I have to use is specific way where I can see the data externally. I don't want the encoded way finally. In my use cases, I don't want an encoded way. So in that case, right, in that case, I don't want this to be in an encoded way while it is writing the file, right? See, this is how the format should be and this is how I want, and this will write into the file. So now let me go and play around with this byte array, because byte array I wasn't able to do it or able to see it. So now let me go and use byte array in same encoding and decoding, or this one, and let's see how this will act. So now let me go and see the data. See, the data is decoded. Have you understand what it has done? The base 64 encoded format that is there, base 64 encoded data has been converted into normal JSON, array of JSONs, because we have selected the same thing while, and I said to the snap that while trying to write it into a file, okay, while trying to write it into a file, decode that and write it whenever the format is byte array. So it has here what it has done, it has encoded the value from binary to document. What it has done, it has encoded. While writing it the value, it has converted it into the actual format which I need at the end of the day, and then it was trying to write it into a file. So this is, you have the same options in this as well, from binary to document and documented binary, same format, same attributes, I would say. But the difference is binary to document acts as a parser, a logical parser, but typically we use it for encoding. When we have any encoding specified, then we use this. Otherwise not, we go for actual parsers. And the same way, we have to use the document to binary. When the binary to document snap is used, then we will be able to process it properly. So it acts as a formatter, as I said, but it is a logical way. But normally, when there is any encoding or decoding specified, or we want to do something particular to that, then we use this sort of formatter, but it's not a formatter. Basically, we call them to refer as document to binary. Now, any questions? So we have covered these binary to document and document to binary as well. I hope it will, I mean, you have to understand it better, and you may get confused also because I am talking about encodings and decodings and everything, but it is a part of development. Maybe in future, when you get a chance to work on this, you will understand it better. But now just try and remember what we have discussed. Any questions on this? On binary to document and document to binary as well? On these two snaps.
Yeah. So instead of parser and formatter, we can use both of them.
Yeah, that's what I said. You can use, but it has to be specific, and you have to be able to process it properly. So if I use none here or a document, I will be able to get the data, right? There is no problem. I can use it. There is no problem. I can use it.
Okay.
So just a second, I will show you the difference. So this is the data, right? And the data is in the array of JSON objects, right? But
Yeah.
let me go and for the same combination, let me go and use the, what is the file I have used? JSON parser. So if I use the JSON parser, the data is in JSON, right? Yeah. So if I use the JSON parser, let us observe the output of both these snaps. Okay. So let's see the output. The output, if you see, it is giving me the same thing, right? Array of JSON objects, right? JSON objects, right? This is how the expected way. And the same thing it is doing is, along with the data, actual data, it is providing me some metadata as well. Where the file is located, who is the user, what is the location, right? Along with that, some metadata is also providing. And this is how the actual data is. So do you see any difference? There is a bit of difference from data. Along with the data, it is giving some metadata as well. This we call it as metadata. Where is the location and what is that and what is the type of data and everything. But actual data is also coming, but within content field, the data is coming. We have to split this and then use it. But JSON parser, what it is doing directly, it is giving me the values, right? But there the values is an array of JSON objects within content, and here it is providing the values directly to me, right? That's the only difference.
Okay.
Makes sense. But when do we use this particularly? We use this when there is any encoding mechanisms or something that is being provided there. Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other questions here?
Yeah, Manoj. So
Yeah.
while we fetching data from another account as a, yeah, Azure or AWS, so at that scene we have to use the binary to document snap, right?
It's not like that. It's not like that. You can use CSV parsers and everything. The only purpose when you use is when there is some encoding that is specified on the file, right?
Okay. Okay.
In source itself, they have specified some encoding, or maybe in documentation in the business document they have asked us to convert this into base 64 encoded format. Then
Mm.
we use this sort of snaps.
Okay.
Otherwise we generally go with normal parsers and formatters.
Okay.
Whenever there is a specific requirement, then only we go and look for this binary to document or document to binary snaps.
And it's maybe for
Hmm.
a, a a specific data only or a
Yeah,
specific column only.
it's
Yeah.
not, it's not like that. It's not only for the data. It's depends on the customer whether
Hmm.
they want it in an encoded way or the normal way. It depends on them actually. That's how it
Okay.
is.
Yeah, got it.
Any other questions, team? Uh, so task to you all, try and use in a pipeline, okay, provide me the difference tomorrow, okay, between a CSV file. Take a CSV files, maybe all CSV files. We have seen the JSON file now, right? So use CSV file and try to use CSV parser and a binary to document, CSV formatter and parser, CSV formatter and CSV parser, and binary to document and document to binary, and provide me the difference. I will ask you that what is the difference that you have found, and when you have CSV file, what type of mechanism that you have to use within the file. So you have to tell me that. Okay, build a pipeline wherein you are only getting CSV files, maybe any number of files, only single file, maybe it's up to you. Okay, use CSV formatter and CSV parser like the way I have done here, and show me the difference and tell me what you have identified. So now I understand, and as Shashank asked me, I have showed the difference, right? So now tomorrow, tell me which option can I use here. Out of these options, which option can I use and which option can I use, so that I will be able to see the documents properly, and and show me in the second part that how is it showing in the CSV parser, and how is it showing when you have applied that particular logic, how it is showing in the output, how the data is being shown in the output. Make sense? I mean, does everyone get the question? Task properly? I want you to let me know, okay, what is the difference between the CSV parser and formatter. I have already explained you that, but I want a practical example or a pipeline where you can build it out and show me the difference, okay, from CSV to JSON, sorry, CSV to the normal binary to document. You can use parsers and formatters and just show me the difference. I will ask you to share the screen and let me explain, or you will be able to explain that what it is happening properly there. Okay, make sense? Any questions? Does anyone have any questions?
So as you shown for the, yeah, JSON file, right? So yeah it it, it could be different for the CSV, or it is same. I'm just
You need
thinking it is
to,
same for the
that you
CSV
need to
also.
tell me.
Hmm.
So I have showed you the documented format, and you have to use maybe few of those or maybe single one when you are trying to retrieve the CSV file from this, and show me the contents the way that I can see. It could be in a string format and JSON format, JSON of array objects. I don't worry about that. Okay. Show
Okay.
me the data in which I can see, in which I can be able to understand.
Mm-hmm.
Use
Okay.
any of this format, maybe in the format in the binaries as well. I mean, in this snap as well.
Okay. Yeah, got it.
Okay,
Hmm.
make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So there is one another snap as well, a small snap which I want to cover in this 5-10 minutes. There is this snap called exit. Okay, what this exit will do? This exit will do, what it will do is it will forcefully stop the pipeline when there is an error, in the complete pipeline. So let me show you a example. So let's say this is my pipeline. Okay, this is my pipeline, right? So now I told this, right, whenever there is a problem, I am telling the snap, whenever there is a problem reading the file, I am telling the snap to stop the whole complete pipeline. So the purpose of the exit snap is to stop from there itself. It will just stop, and we can provide some text. Failed, failed, failed while reading the contents. Okay, I will let you know what is the count threshold limit. So now I have told you, and intentionally I am trying to fail it out. Or maybe what I will do is, let me see whether I can, let me see whether this location is not there, but I am trying to see whether it will fail or not, right? See, it has gone this way, and it has giving me some error, and it will showing me. Now let me explain you what I have done here. I have provided a path, and along with that I have told this snap to go to employee folder, and then go to this a folder, right? There is no folder like such. I have added it. So whenever there is a problem like this, so I am trying it in a real-time scenario, for example. Okay, I'm running it. I have all the data. So now if you can see, what exit snap will do is it will just stop that pipeline from there, and it will not execute any of the next snaps, right? It tried to gone here, but next snap has not executed because everything has gone into yellow, but it has not turned into green. It has failed, right? What exit snap will do? Forces a pipeline to stop when failed status if it receives more records than a user-defined thresholds, right? So based on this threshold, when there is a record more than this, right, then it will fail. So if you see, what is the reason it has provided? Failed while reading the contents. I have provided that error message, and it is showing that failed while reading the contents, right? And I have specified 0, but error is greater than 0, right? Because I have one error here. For one file, I have one error here. I have provided as 0. So in this case, there is an error whose threshold value is greater than 0. Then it will fail the pipeline, and it will not let you execute, or the records will not be processed to next snaps. That is the main purpose, just to stop there. I mean, don't process, don't go anything further. It's like a red light to the snap, to the pipeline. Till here it has executed, till here it has executed. From here it will not execute, even though it could have turned green, but the data will not be processed to this snap. You will be able to see 0 0 as an input output. See, binary copy, I see 0 as an input, 0 as an output, right? 0 as an input, 0 as an output. Then the documents will not be processed, and this will stop by turning into red. This will turn into red and give you the reason that failed while reading the contents, because that is what we have provided. We can provide the number, and threshold limit also we can change. Let's say if we identify more than one error, then we can put it to 1, or otherwise 0. Is just a small snap wherein it will not have much business functionality, but in some scenarios where we want to stop our pipeline, at that case, right, we can use this exit snap. Make sense? right? Any questions?
No question.
Yeah. So by this, I'll take a halt. So as I said, come up with the the difference tomorrow for the CSV file with the normal with the binary to document formats, and then the normal parsing and formattings. Okay. I think Prashant, we can stop.
Wonderful.
Sure, Manoj.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Manoj. Bye.